Victoria is extending its state of emergency for another 4 weeks and tightening restrictions because of a worrying spike in virus cases. The state has recorded 19 new COVID infections in the last 24-hour period. Another case of coronavirus has been linked to a family in Keilor Downs, bringing the cluster's total to 11. 25 new cases were recorded the previous day, the worst result in 2 months.
Of the 19 new cases, 4 are linked to known outbreaks. 4 has been detected in hotel quarantine. 3 have been detected through routine testing, and there are 8 cases under investigation. We have now 210 cases believed to be related to community transmission, and that's an increase of 10 since yesterday.
Restrictions on household gatherings are being tightened from today, with only 5 guests allowed. Public gatherings, excluding restaurants and cafes, will be restricted to 10 people and will remain in place until July 12, pending a review. Plans to increase the number of patrons from 20 to 50 at pubs, restaurants and cafes will also be deferred to the July 12 date. It's been 2 weeks since the Black Lives Matter demonstrations in Melbourne. Meanwhile, the Victorian government has hit back at accusations of hypocrisy for tightening COVID-19 restrictions after thousands attended the protest 2 weeks ago. Live now to political reporter Eliza Edwards. Eliza, a federal minister has blasted the state government for letting the rally happen.
Yeah, Danica, Keith Pitt suggesting that it's hypocritical for Victoria to crack down on family gatherings after allowing those Black Lives Matter protests to happen 2 weeks ago. Now, as we just heard, there's been a worrying spike in COVID infections in Victoria, but none of them have so far been linked, or at least the community transmission cases haven't been linked to those protests thus far. That didn't stop the Federal Resources Minister from having a crack at the Victorian Premier, suggesting the state should have done more to stop those protests from going ahead.
I note that Dan Andrews has gone back out and walked back from some of his commitments, but I note that none of those include changing the cap on protests from 30,000. You're out telling families that they can't get together with family and friends, but you'll allow 30,000 people, a lot of which are in high-risk categories, to get together for a protest. Well, I think your viewers know very well what the cause of some of these outbreaks may be.
Danica, the Victorian Police Minister has hit back at Mr Pitt, saying that the government had strongly advised people not to attend those protests and they couldn't stop people beyond that advice.
Allowing or not allowing that's not really an option unless you are to barricade the city with concrete barriers, which is an impossible thing to do, Andrew. So what I'd say is that every single person, from Victoria Police through to the Health Minister, myself, the Chief Health Officer, the Premier, everyone said this protest should not happen. People should not go to that protest. It was against the Chief Health Officer orders. So people, please stay home, find different ways to protest, to get your issues out whilst we go through this.